Hello and welcome to Raven's Arcana. I am Raven. I hope everyone is hanging in there and having an amazing day. Today I wanted to discuss the Sun Tarot card, number 19 in the Major Arcana, and specifically the White Sage Tarot representation of this card. I think this version really embodies what the Sun card is supposed to represent and the information that's supposed to be communicated when it comes up in a reading. So let's get in here and take a peek at the artwork. So as we see, we have a scarab exalting, raising, holding up the sun. And immediately what comes to mind is as above, so below, as within, so without. The micro and the macro, right? How everything is intertwined, how everything affects each and every one of us. And if we're concentrating on the scarab, we know that in ancient Egyptian culture, it was revered. It was a religious symbol. It was on tombs, it was in carvings, on pendants, adornments, everything. And it was very important to them. And through metaphorical translation, what we find is that the scarab supposedly dug up the sun, rolled it across the sky during the daytime, and buried it in the west, only to dig it up in the east the next morning, and the progression continues, right? Now, in 2013, what I found was that scientists observed the scarab, and what they found out was that the scarab navigates not by landmarks, not by trails or paths. It navigates using the sun. It navigates using the moon if the sun is not available. If the moon is unavailable, then it navigates with the stars. And this tells us that be aware that you are also being affected by the macro, the universe, the world, and in turn that you can affect that as well, right? Pay attention to astrology. Pay attention to messages from universe, from spirit, from things that are part of the collective, the Akashic records, all of that knowledge, be aware that it exists. And I think that's very, very important, right? And I think they knew this and put that as a metaphor and told that story so people would understand how to navigate, meaning how to gather information, how to access Akashic records, and navigate through your existence, whether it be emotionally, mentally, spiritually, what have you. Now, if we're looking at the scarab, we also notice that it has the color blue on it. And so we know that blue represents emotions. Be mindful of how your emotions affect other people, especially empaths, right? Make sure you're staying in the center of your will. You're emotionally balanced. It also represents communication. How are we communicating to others? Are we communicating to others in a positive manner, right? We have an effect on the collective, on other people, on our pets. Also, it's subconscious. Be aware, that the things that you are consciously aware of, as you go through a routine, it becomes habit and goes into your subconscious. We also see that it has indigo on there. So wisdom, right? It is our responsibility to gather information along our path, along the way, and transmute that knowledge to understanding and eventually wisdom, to share that, to communicate that to the collective, right? Now, indigo is also justice and fairness. Are we being fair to not only other people, but ourselves? Are we acting in a just manner? If you squint, you can see where the wings connect to the body, there's also little red dots. Now, red is going to represent love. Are we loving ourselves? Are we loving others? Are we showing compassion, right? It's also power. We have the power to change, to make good decisions, right? To reset. And then authority. We have authority over our own lives. And you might also be in a position of authority. We're talking about micro, macro, as above, so below. It doesn't have to be the universe and yourself. It could be that you are an individual that has authority over others, over a portion of the collective, and being mindful of how you project, being mindful of your authority, and are you setting rules, for yourself and for other people that are just, that are fair, right? Now, also, we look at the sun, right? And once again, I think this is the macro representation. But if we're looking at the colors of the sun, the outer band on this representation is yellow. Positivity, right? We want to stay positive. We want to keep the collective positive. It's light, it's illumination, shedding light on situations, illuminating the path, right? Also, it is consciousness. So we have the below with the subconscious, the above with the consciousness, and we already talked about how those two are intertwined, right? The sun also represents life, vitality, ego, keeping your ego in check, right? And creativity, So, with the orange in there, that represents creativity. Are you sharing your creativity? Are you being passionate, right? The sun is passion, and is life, it is vitality. Are you accessing your creative side? Are you sharing your creativity with the collective? It's also playfulness. Are you being goofy, playful? Do you have joy in your life? Do you laugh? Do you smile? Right? And it's energy. Having the energy, sharing that positive energy with others, being mindful of how you affect others, and also realizing that you are affected by the collective as well. You're affected by the sun, the moon, and the stars. Now, we talked about this being number 19. So if we get into numerology a little bit, the 9 plus the 1 is 10. 10 is completion. It is cycles. It is beginnings and endings, right? If we do not reduce it, the 10 is a 1 and a 0. It's masculine, feminine. It is balance, right? It is also binary code. And once again, beginnings and endings. Now, with the 10, with the 1 and the 9, it's also going through the progression of numerology, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? 1, potential, duality, communication, stability, adversity, growth, faith, change, fruition, and eventually, with 10, the completion. So you're going through all the stages of life, of existence, of learning, of the spiritual path, right? So once again, I think this is an amazing representation of the sun card. And I think that everything weaved in here, it is so subtle, but when you really get down to it, the colors, the visuals on here represent everything we're supposed to think about when the sun card comes up, and there's always negative aspects, or there can be negative aspects of all the cards, whether you read it upright and you're mindful of things you might have to change, might have to work on, or it's reversed. So be mindful of how you're affecting others. Be mindful of how the collective affects you, how astrology affects you, how your environment infects, right? Be infectious, be infectionate, in a positive manner. I love that slipped in there. I love that word. Well, all right. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sticking around for the video. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, please subscribe. If you did like the content, also like and give it a thumbs up. But until the next time, take care of yourself and have an amazing day. All right. Bye.